Hello, while most of the companies were still using the video CD, there was a much better format on the horizon. The video CD was released in 1993, but they were already working on a much better image quality that could be stored on a disc. It wasn't that simple though. There were two groups working on it to create a very good product. Firstly, the usual couple Sony and Philips with MMCD. It was called Multimedia Compact Disc, and the other Toshiba, Matsushita, JVC, Thomson, Mitsubishi, Hitachi and Pioneer with Time Warner jointly developed Super Density Disc. Sony Philips MMCD's target was computer storage purposes. Then video became the other priority. The main advantage is that they tried to keep the basic formulas from the CD, but with a higher capacity. The 8-to-14 modulation had to be improved. This became EFM+, and the disk capacity of 3.7 GB. To solve this disadvantage, the dual layer option was introduced. The Toshiba's SD disc, on the other hand, was completely different. It was not compatible with previous drives, but it had more storage space. The SD disc was double-sided with 5 GB capacity on each side. It was referred to as SD10. Toshiba's also announced in 1995 and appeared on the market to show some strength. Well, that would create another format war and chaos on the market. The computer companies didn't like this, and the meeting was held in 1995. So the following decisions was made. Both formats will be boycotted until they could agree a common, equally functional format that worked everywhere and could hold 2 layers without turning the disk over. There was one more request. It should use the new UDF-5 system, the Universal Disc Format. Sony and Philips agreed to drop MMCD, which in the meantime they referred to as DVD, Digital Video Disc. But Sony's request was to be compatible with the previous laser drives. Therefore, the servo system and the EFM Plus was adopted, thus the 5 GB of the SD disk shrunk to 4.7. However, MMCD's dual layer solution was also included in the new combined DVD, which was renamed Digital Versatile Disc. According to other information, this name was only given in 2000 at the DVD forum meeting. It seems it's going to be long, but stay with me. By December 1995, all agreements about the new DVD format were established and released in November 1996 on the Japanese market. The first players were the Toshiba SD3000 and the Panasonic A100, with Blade Runner and The Fugitive as first discs. Then in 1997, in the United States, 32 movies became available, including The Goodfellas, Unforgiven, Seventh, and The Mask, among others, as well as Twister as a main title. And the devices were priced between $700 and $1,000. Toshiba SD2006, Samsung DVD 705, Sony DVPS 7000, Pioneer DVR 700, and the Panasonic DVD A100. Since the CD was introduced, technologies gradually improved and more precise laser units could be manufactured. So the DVD, a much more modern and complex format, could be from anything before.
This is DVD. And this is what happens when you watch DVD. It's a movie on a disc the size of a CD. The picture is twice as sharp as VHS. The sound is infinitely clearer. It looks and sounds like you're at the movies, but you can experience it at home. Not to mention, you can watch it in widescreen. Listen to audio commentary. Choose from features like director's notes, behind-the-scenes footage, trailers, and more. Watch a movie right on your computer. And rent or buy DVDs from these great Hollywood studios. DVD. see how good a movie at home can be. With over 3,000 titles to choose from, make sure you see your next movie on DVD.
Yeah. In the case of the CD, the small computer in a player in 1981, it was a miracle. This repeated with the DVD again. The disc builds up of two 0.6mm polycarbonate layers, between them the aluminium layer, which contains the data itself, and an adhesive layer. In the case of dual-layer disc, there are two aluminium layers on the top of each other, one of these a semi-reflective, while the other is a completely reflective layer. The 12 cm disc capacities are DVD5 single-layer single-sided 4.7 GB 4.38 GB, DVD9 single-sided double-layer 8.5 GB 7.92 GB, DVD10 double-sided single-layer 4.7 GB twice 8.75 GB, DVD14 double-sided double-layer plus a single layer 13.3 GB 12.3 GB, DVD18 double-sided twice double-layered 17.1 GB 15.9 GB. On the two-sided ones, there is no full-size label. In this case, the inner circle contains a small graphics what the content is. The laser becomes a red laser with a wavelength of 650 nanometers. Its spatial receptivity to light reflection almost doubled compared to CD. Therefore, it was much more precise and could find smaller pits. The size of the pits was reduced by half, and they became much closer to each other, achieving higher data density. It's interesting to put it in a line. The data line of a single layer disc would be almost 10 miles long. The DVD's backfix, called RSPC, reads Solomon product code. Data is organized into sectors on the disk. 2048 bytes in one sector plus 12 bytes of header. Every 16 sectors get an RSPC frame. DVD uses EFM+. The 8-bit words are now converted to 16-bit, so the number of possibilities are greater, but the conversion is fixed. At least 2 0 bits, but a maximum of 10 can be followed by a 1. This increases the amount of data that can be stored by 6.25% compared to the EFM used on the CD. Thanks to the more precise laser units, the RSPC and EFM+, the DVD became about 47% more reliable than the CD was. Therefore, they did not feel the need for another error correction. Don't lose your patience. Now comes how it works. The DVD combined the best developments of the time. From here on, it's all about DVD video.
It looks just like a CD, but it holds much more information, and it's redefining home entertainment.
The world is turning to DVD for a better way to watch movies and concert videos. DVD isn't just better than a VCR, it's amazingly better.
Here's a scene from a movie on VHS cassette. Now here's the same scene on DVD. See the difference?
DVD gives you a digital picture, twice as sharp as a VCR. The image is cleaner, the colors are brighter. Now movies look the way they were meant to look.
DVD supports the Dolby Digital standard for surround sound, so now you can hear movies the way the studio engineer hears them. Just listen to the difference.
DVD can have up to 8 different language soundtracks.
Heard me, Carl. Y oremos porque funcione como esperamos.
Bon, bah les gars, faites-moi de la place. On vient de me commander de tirer sur Air Force One.
Up to 32 different sets of subtitles.
You heard me, Carl. And let's pray it works the way it's supposed to.
Okay, boys, give me some rope. I've just been ordered to fire on Air Force One.
Like compact disc, DVD uses a laser to read data from the disc without ever touching it. With no wear and tear, the disc will last virtually forever.
The difference is a DVD packs a lot more data than a CD, so instead of just music, a DVD can hold a full-length motion picture with stereo and surround sound.
The disc contains files. There are 2 folders, but both are not required. The Audio TS audio title set only contains something if the disc is DVD audio or DVD audio and DVD video. All contents of the DVD video are in the Video TS folder. IFO, BAP and VOB files are located here. IFOs are information files and include descriptions of the sound, image and the programming. BAP is a backup file from IFO. VOB is video object file. This includes image, sound and subtitles. VOB is actually a container, but it was specially designed for DVD. The video is MPEG-2, an improvement version of MPEG-1 from Video CD. It has undergone several changes to be better quality. The goal was to be able to store the digital version of PAL and NTSC terrestrial analog broadcast quality in the same quality. The bitrate can be changed. It doesn't have to be the same all the time. In a simpler sequence of images, or in the case of black, it can go down and the quality not changed significantly. This also saves disk space and the file will be smaller. Coding is more complex and the blocks are smaller. Profiles and levels have been introduced, which gives the parameters to the encoder and decoder. MPEG-2 can store the full 720 by 576 SD video size in the case of PAL or 720 by 480 for NTSC. It's possible to encode per frame but also per field. 420 color sampling, but 422 is also possible, although the DVD doesn't use this. DVD video can therefore contain MPEG-1 or MPEG-2 video with a maximum bitrate of 9800 kilobit per second. Variable bitrate or constant continuous bitrate. GOPs are the group of IPB frames. They can be maximum of 18 frames long. PAL 720 by 576 25 frames per second, or NTSC 720 by 480 29976 frames per second. In the case of NTSC, pull down is enabled. The 29976 video stream may contain the frame rate of 24 or 23.976, but a mix of PAL and NTSC contents are not allowed on the same disk. It can be interlaced or progressive scanning. 4x3 or 60x9 anamorphic image size is possible. The latter means the 60x9 image size is compressed into the 4x3 format. Everything will be narrow and stretches it to the correct size when displayed. A panel scan and letterbox display was important for 4x3 TVs. If someone didn't want to see black bars at the top and bottom, they could zoom in, but the quality was destroyed. The sound on a DVD video disc can be PCM 48 or 96 kHz, 16, 20 or 24 bit, from mono to 6 channels, up to 6144 kilobits per second data rate. It takes so much space, so it's very rarely used in a case of films, because there is no enough room left for the picture. But the possibility is there. Also can be Dolby Digital AC3, from mono to 5.1 or 6.1 with matrix encoding. The middle rear is encoded into the two rear channels. 48 kHz 16-bit, maximum bitrate is 448 kilobit per second. MPEG-2 audio from mono to 7.1, 48 kHz 16-bit, maximum bitrate is 912 kilobit per second. And of course DTS. DTS was not originally in the DVD specs, but meanwhile the company more widespread, so it seemed a good option to add a compressed but excellent quality sound. It was still added early enough, but after the format entering the market in 1997. 48 or 96 kHz, 16, 20 or 24 bit, maximum 6 channels or 6.1 with matrix encoding. Half DTS with 754 kilobits per second data rate. The full DTS is 1509 kilobits per second. There was also less room for the picture or other soundtracks when DTS audio track used. SDDS is Sony's digital cinema sound. It was added originally to the specs, but in the end no one dealt with it, and Sony also dropped it. SDDS supported up to 7.1. But the problems to start with, while all others used 3x2.1 formulation, SDDS used 5x2.1, 5 speakers in the front. There was no disc relays, neither amplifier nor player on the market. The subtitles were stored specially, called run length encoding, which means the repeated signs and characters combined into one value. In this way, they take minimal space, only 2 bits per pixel, and can contain a maximum of 16 colors. Well, all of these were muxed into a container, which is the WOP file, resulting total data rate maximum 11.08 megabit per second. But 1 megabit per second should be left as a safety reserve, hence the real data rate must be under 10.08 megabits per second. In the video title sets folder, first video TS IFO, the video TS BAP and video TS WOB. Always the first element is the video manager. While the disc played back, the player will always jump here and reads the next information, but it's not necessarily visible. This happens in the background. Doesn't have to include actual video. There is also the first play element. This is not mandatory, but if not specified, the playback will not start automatically. You have to press play. IFO contains chapter information, picture and sound information, how many tracks, subtitles and programming. BAP is a backup from IFO. From the 2 big DVD authoring softwares, in the Scenarist you must manually add VMG programming, but DVD Maestro does it itself. After the video TS comes the VTS plus numbered files. They are the actual content. The first is VTS 010. This is the menu for the first video. It doesn't necessarily have to be a menu, but the files will be there. In the IFO contains the programming. And VTS 011 will be the actual content, divided to 1 GB segments. VTS 020, as before, the menu and programming for this title, and then the content from VTS 021, divided to 1 GB segments, and so on up to 99 titles. A disk can contain up to 10,000 menu pages if the aspect ratio is 4:3, 36 navigation buttons per menu, or 18 when 16:9, 99 titles, 99 chapter points per title. There can be up to 9 video tracks in one title, but it has limitations, so rarely used, as the bitrate must be very low. I promise it won't be long. In the case of DVD video, the ability for programming was a big advantage. Even though there are limitations, one goal can be reached in several ways, and with a little creativity, a lot more previously unseen capabilities appeared, like games. All of this became possible because the DVD player is a small computer which has memories. Among these memories, there are some which are used by the system for fixed functions, and there are other which is programmable. During the DVD authoring, the creators can decide which memory, when, and what function to perform. 16 GPRM, General Behavior Memory, and 24 SPRMs, or System Parameter Memory. The latter is fixed and cannot be touched, but the other 16 can be. Each can store 16 bits, from which 8 will be the command and 8 will be the value. This can be set to remember, for example, the sound, subtitle, previous position, etc. DVD video is already designed, possible restrictions applied. One of those probably everyone has heard of, the region coding. The purpose of this is that when a movie is released in a country, it shouldn't be taken to another, maybe before the theatrical release in there, making illegal distributions more difficult. The region coding is software based, but drivers may contain their own region in the hardware. Disks are software encoded only, therefore they can be easily eliminated. 8 regions were defined. I think they are familiar to everyone. The 7th is reserved for later use, finally never been used, and the 8th is for special international places such as hotels, oil rigs, airplanes, etc. These are not important anymore. Codeless, all regions encoded disks are playable everywhere. It is possible to make a disk which will not work anywhere if an incorrect region is selected, or a PAL or NTSC disc. Digital copy protection has also been applied. CSS, Content Scramble System. A 40-bit code was intended to prevent copying. It worked for about 2 years, until a Norwegian programmer wrote a CSS software and published it. These two are under the supervision of DVD Copy Control Association, but since the CSS came out, any disk can be copied. They tried to take it to court, but the trials were dropped in 2004 because it was no longer made sense. To use CSS, royalties must be paid. DVD can also include analog copy protection, macrovision, the same that was used on VHS, which also didn't make much sense. Over the time, its use was increasingly abandoned since it was not free to use and everyone made digital copies anyway. Another improvement was the introduction of UOP locking. Any user function, content access, may be prohibited or restricted, from changing audio tracks or reach many buttons, anything. And the parental lock was meant to block children reaching certain content. For this, the disk must also contain the information, for example over 18 years only, and must also be set in the player menu to take that into account. In fact, within a few years after the DVD was released, all restrictions could be cracked on any computer in about 10 seconds. The DVD was an instant success. The first 1 million units were sold within 2 years, while in the following years the number of households owning a DVD player grew massively. The release of the PlayStation 2 was also given a push, as Sony has already released it with DVD video compatibility. Of course, the quality compared to VHS was amazing: multilingual audio and subtitles, widescreen image, extra content. In a word, compared to any previous one, it was a miracle. We are getting close to the end. My first player was the Panasonic DVD A360, which I bought used but only a few months old and in perfect condition. I just loved it. I started to buy movies even before that. So by the time the player was bought, if I remember correctly, I already had 13 discs. I really liked the picture quality. It had a built-in Dolby Digital and DTS decoder. It even played most of the readable discs. But after a few years, it came out a better version with RAM and DVD audio support. That's why I bought that one, and it was already much cheaper as new from the 360 as used before. The price of the players went down drastically. Then at the same time, I almost stopped using VHS, only for record from TV till DVD recorders arrived. The only problem was the price of the discs was high. DVD has grown so much worldwide, and around 2006 the VHS releases almost everywhere stopped and was replaced by DVD. Thanks to Sony, the players came with a big advantage: compatibility with audio CD and video CD. The later ones were also able to play MP3, DivX, VMA, JPEG and other files. That way it could reach that huge market share very quickly. But the DVD couldn't avoid either, having a new format which produces better quality, and not only became one, but immediately two: HD DVD and Blu-ray. But they couldn't catch up with DVD's popularity. Thanks for watching, please press like, subscribe, hope it was worth to watch this video, see you next time.